With Broly set to appear in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie, it is also stated that Broly could potentially even surpass the powers of a god of destruction. And if the rumors of Broly having to surpass a god ends up being true, how will this affect the landscape of Dragon Ball as a whole in the upcoming movie? And what would the repercussions be if Broly ends up being stronger than the god in the future of the Dragon Ball franchise? As right now we are going to be further analyzing, dissecting, and breaking down the events of Broly possibly being stronger than a god of destruction in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie, next.
This is the legendary Super Saiyan. Before I destroy you, I'm going to need you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming and turn on notifications to never miss a single upload. Also, follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms. And if you don't, I'll destroy you along with your entire planet.
What, Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!
With Broly having to be set to return in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie, the rumor behind Broly's destructive power is that he potentially might be even stronger than a god of destruction. Now, is that something for us to look forward to, or is that a big mistake being made on behalf of Broly's character? As joining me here today to discuss the concept of Broly's destructive power in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie is my good friend Antimetaman from Twitter. As Anti, a lot of people in the Dragon Ball fandom seem to be very confused, and they seem to be very up in arms about Broly having to be potentially, and that's the key word here, potentially stronger than even a god of destruction. Now, the term god of destruction is very vague because they never specified as to which god of destruction Broly could potentially be stronger than, and the only logical one that would make sense in this case would be Beerus. And the reason why is because Beerus and Broly just so happen to be inhabiting the same universe at the same time, so one can only speculate in the idea that Broly could potentially be more powerful than Beerus in this upcoming movie. Now, what I wanted to know from you personally is, how do you feel about Broly's destructive power being possibly even greater than a god? And what kind of concept do you believe they're going to have behind this in terms of further explaining Broly's strength? And what are your initial thoughts in seeing Broly's destructive power manifest onto the big screen once we see him clash with Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza?
So, I mean, to answer the question of whether Broly can be potentially stronger than a god of destruction, I think we really should look at the manga for some comparison. We see that Kale, who is very similar to Broly, in her base was already above Super Saiyan Caulifla.
Right.
We know that because the fight between Golden Frieza, Kale, and Caulifla, Golden Frieza says that Kale's hit harder than what Caulifla did. And then in the movie trailer, we see that Broly, in his base form with a collar, is already pushing back Super Saiyan Vegeta. So we know that his base is going to be greater than Super Saiyan Vegeta. So they're very similar. And then we see later in the trailer, after Broly removes his collar, we see Super Saiyan Blue fighting with base Broly. Now, he hasn't even transformed yet. So we know already that Super Saiyan God was not enough. Goku had to go Super Saiyan Blue just to fight Broly. And if we see that much already, and in the manga, we see that when Kale goes Berserker, she's already above Super Saiyan Blue, then just imagine if when Broly goes Berserker, it makes pretty much sense that he would be stronger than a god of destruction. We know that Jiren was supposedly the mortal that was above a god of destruction, right. And that if Goku with his Ultra Instinct was above Jiren, then it makes also sense that if Broly is above a god of destruction, potentially above Jiren, then the only way that Goku could even beat Broly is with Ultra Instinct. But when the Nagamine interview came out and it was shown that maybe Broly was potentially stronger than a god of destruction, that didn't surprise me that much, because we've already seen Goku close the gap kind of with a lot of after the Tournament of Power with Beerus. what was unknown was, people were saying that Jiren is not really necessarily stronger than Beerus. He's just stronger than Belmod, which is the God of Destruction of Universe 11. But I mean, it's kind of subject to interpretation whether Jiren is the mortal that's stronger than all 12 gods of destruction, and if Broly is stronger than Jiren, that makes him also stronger than all 12. So that would make him like the strongest villain,
right?
because
Right, because they never specified as to which god they were referencing. But then again, the question was asked if Broly was stronger than a Hakaishin, and that information has not been disclosed yet. But as you said, I don't see it to where it's outside of the realm of possibility for Broly to be stronger than a god. And the only other god that we can think of right now that makes logical sense for him to be stronger than is Beerus, because Beerus is a part of Universe 7, he is the god of that residing universe, and Broly just so happens to be a part of that universe, not Universe 2 or Universe 11 or 7, or 6 or whatever. He's a part of Universe 7. So for him to be stronger than the god of Universe 7 is not outside of the realm of possibility. However, when it comes to someone's subjective bias, a lot of people would say, I do not agree with this, because you have this, this Saiyan be introduced for the first time, and he's already stronger than the strongest mortals that we've seen in the Tournament of Power, and including that residing god. It just doesn't make sense to them. But I think if they're going to adapt the concept of Broly being stronger, then it's a matter of how. And I wanted to ask you, how do you see Broly surpassing the levels of even Beerus and Jiren at that matter? Is it because of him having to continuously grow in power? Is it because of the transformations that he is hiding? Because at this point, if Broly does end up being stronger than Jiren, stronger than Beerus, then the only logical thing to actually end up fighting against Broly would be Mastered Ultra Instinct. So with that being said, like, how do you think Broly ends up being stronger than Beerus or even Jiren, if that ends up being the case? Is it because of the continuous power-ups that he's getting during the fight, or is it the continuous transformations that he has hidden that places him above that kind of level?
So, I mean, we know from the manga that a legendary Saiyan from, like, Universe 6 is known to continuously grow in power. When Kale transformed into a Berserker state, we see that she got a little bit more powerful as the fights went on. She was able to break Super Saiyan Blue Goku's guard. She was able to do a lot more things later on. She did a one-hit KO with Ani Laza, which, in the anime was like complete opposite.
Right,
so
right.
It's possible that Broly's power does keep growing, but the initial transformation that he has just from going from base to like Berserker, I think that just that one gap, that multiplier to Berserker, is enough to surpass the level of a God of Destruction if in his base he's already fighting with Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Because if you also know, in the manga, we did actually get an upper limit for Beerus. We know that in the Zamasu saga, when Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta came out, Shin, the Supreme Kai, said that Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta actually surpassed Beerus. And if you agree with that statement, then it tells us that Beerus does have an upper limit. Now, that was before the tournament.
Well, he implied perhaps maybe Vegeta has surpassed the God of Destruction,
right.
Never implying that it was a definite,
Right. I mean, so it's subject to interpretation of what you think, because it's character dialogue, and characters can be wrong when they're saying stuff. So, but that's the only indication we've ever gotten in the entire, anime, manga combined of Beerus, how strong he could be. Because since he's a God of Destruction, you can't sense God Ki, but like Shin, he's a Supreme Kai, so he can sense God Ki. So, but again, like it's also subject to interpretation. But I think
to that, if Broly ends up being stronger than even Beerus, then you have to also kind of adapt the idea of how much more powerful can a Saiyan get, even if he does surpass a God of Destruction. Now, we know that there are different tiers. We have the Gods of Destruction, we have the Angels, we have the Grand Priest, and we have Zeno. And I don't see Broly being on any equivalent level to Whis or Vados or any of them. Perhaps maybe when it comes to a God of Destruction, yes. If Jiren was shown to kind of like supersede that and being the mortal that a god can't defeat, then, for Broly, I don't see that being too far-fetched. However, it also goes into question as to how they could defeat Broly. So let's say, as an example, if Broly is stronger than Jiren and Beerus, at that given point, what do you think our heroes need to do to defeat him? Is it, you know, upgrading their powers and executing Super Saiyan Blue Evolution and Kaioken times 20? Is it for Goku to tap back into Ultra Instinct? Is it for somebody else to get involved? Is it fusion? What kind of a scenario do you think needs to be presented if Broly ends up being stronger than Beerus in this film?
Right, so I was just going to make this straight, that Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken times 20 is not going to be enough. Super Saiyan Blue Evolution is not going to be enough. Even if they fuse into Vegeta and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta with Kaioken, I think it's still not going to be enough. I think that the only way they're going to really surpass Broly as he is going to be with Master Ultra Instinct. And I do agree with you that there's no possible way like he's on anywhere near Angel tier, so he is below Whis. But that's just the thing, is that that's how much of a gap there is between Whis and Beerus. There's a really big gap. I mean, I know that this was kind of like outdated, but Akira Toriyama did say in an interview that the difference between Beerus and Whis on like a scale was like Beerus would be a 10 and Whis would be a 15. So it's just like there's a huge difference between Whis and Beerus. And as strong as Jiren is, even with that we've seen in Tournament of Power, he still is below an Angel level. And even with Master Ultra Instinct, Goku is still below an Angel level. So all of these characters are still nowhere near Angel tier, but I do think that as strong as Broly can be, he's the only way to defeat him would be probably Master Ultra Instinct. I don't see any other way.
So you don't see Goku and Vegeta having to kind of create an alternative kind of method in defeating him? Because with Goku having a state that he doesn't know what he didn't know what he did when he, achieved Ultra Instinct, and the fact that he can't go back into it at will, do you see them kind of creating like a different outlet, perhaps fusion? And to present that kind of an idea, let's say if UI isn't in the film, but instead we have Gogeta Blue versus Broly, who is now stronger than Beerus, how do you see that fight going along if there were to be a Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta having to fight against Broly? Would you see it to where Gogeta would be, a suitable candidate to defeat him, or do you think that wouldn't be enough as well?
I think Gogeta Blue would not be enough for the same reason. Yeah, I don't think so, because Gogeta, first of all, is weaker than Vegeta, right? And then we know that Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta is stronger than Beerus based on Shin's statement, but it's even like I don't think even if they did it against Jiren, Jiren would have beaten Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. And if Broly is stronger than supposedly Jiren, then it's, fusion still wouldn't be enough. Now, I understand that at the end of Dragon Ball Super, Goku says that he can't tap into Ultra Instinct voluntarily, but that's kind of what they want the audience to believe.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a surprise factor then in the movie, that if Goku's back to a corner and he's kind of like, there's no choice, and he's like come subconscious, then he will activate Master Ultra Instinct again, because that's kind of his new trump card. His trump card isn't fusion, it's not Spirit Bomb anymore. It's the new trump card now is Ultra Instinct. So I do think that's going to be the best way. I mean, they'll try everything they can against Broly until all options are like exhausted, but I do think that it makes sense for MUI to be the finisher.
Now, just like many people who do have their concerns, I'm not entirely on board with Broly having to be stronger than a God of Destruction, even though they were very vague in their answer in kind of giving away the fact that Broly could potentially be stronger than Beerus. Is it possible? Of course, but the simple fact that here we have someone who just appeared in the movie and is now being introduced in the first time in Dragon Ball Super, only for him to supersede one of the strongest characters in Universe 7, could be something very difficult for somebody to accept, considering everything we've seen from Beerus. But I think if they played their cards right, they could introduce a different concept into why Broly is the way he is and why he's even stronger than a god. But I don't think that Broly is just going to surpass the powers of a god without there being a legitimate explanation behind why he is stronger than a god. Now, this also varies on the idea of Broly being as strong as Jiren, which I'm not entirely sure if Broly's going to be stronger than Jiren. But even if the situation were to occur to where Broly even surpasses Jiren, then the only logical thing for them to do in this film to put Broly down, or at least introduce a competitor who is on a remotely similar level to Broly, if that ends up being the case, is Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. And I do believe that for marketing purposes, this could happen by having Broly be introduced to fight UI Goku, but then a lot of people are going to be up in the air and kind of being on the fence and on the defense of Broly having to be this powerful, which again is very subjective, but by the end of the day, if the status of Broly being stronger than a God of Destruction is true, then we can expect a lot from this film, considering the fact that Broly is going to possess a power that we haven't seen since the Tournament of Power, and by the end of it, Broly could be that guy that can end up pushing Goku and Vegeta in achieving more in this movie. So at the end of the day, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you guys feel personally about Broly possibly even surpassing that of a God of Destruction? Is Broly even stronger than Jiren? And what are your overall thoughts as to what should oppose Broly in this upcoming movie in terms of status? Should it be Gogeta Blue? Should it be Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once again, if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to punch that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, tune back in for more. If you guys are hyped, ready, and excited for this upcoming movie, go on ahead and slap a like down below, tune back in for more, and we'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Cue my legendary outro, bitch.